Something that you might want to check out. As I was gathering data to prepare for some race analysis videos I'm going to do at the upcoming Olympics and the hurdle races, I came across this. I decided to break down McLaughlin Levrone's race for the 400 meters where she just broke the world's record. So what I did is for each of the hurdles, I looked at how many steps she was taking to each hurdle, what her lead leg was at each hurdle, and also what her touchdown time was. Meaning as her foot touches down off that hurdle, what is the time at that moment? So what she did here is she used her normal step pattern, 22 steps to the first hurdle, 14 steps from hurdle 2 through hurdle 7, and then finished the race for her last 3 hurdles at 15 steps each. So this means she starts her first hurdle with her dominant leg and has to alternate left, right, left, right, left, right, and then finish with her favorite dominant leg to the finish line. And then you can see her touchdown times here, and then she finished with the 50.67. So of course I decided to do the same thing with Femke Bol, and this is where things got interesting. So in case you don't know it, Femke also ran an amazing race last weekend and finished with a 50.96. And if you've been watching the two of them race since the last Olympics, you know that Femke typically just takes a 15-step stride pattern all the way through the race. Well, she's not doing that anymore. As you can see here, she's doing the exact same step pattern as Sydney, 22 and 14 through hurdle 7, and then 15 to the finish line. But because she's left leg dominant, her leads are actually the opposite of Sydney's. But here's where it really blew my mind. Her touchdown times for each hurdle are identical to Sydney's. 6 seconds after the first hurdle, 10 seconds after the second, 14 after the third, really close at the fourth hurdle at 18 and 18.1. And again at the fifth hurdle, 22.4, 22.3. But then by the sixth hurdle, we see that Femke's actually ahead at 26.2 seconds to Sydney's 26.9. And it's even more dramatic at the seventh hurdle where Femke is at 30.9 and Sydney's at 31.5. So at the middle of the race, we see that Femke is actually running faster and would be ahead of Sydney at this point. And then this continues on through hurdle 8. And then we can see this is where Sydney starts to pick it up. At hurdle 9, Femke was at 40.4 and Sydney was only 0.3 of a second behind her. By the time they get to hurdle 10, Femke still has a slight lead of 0.1 of a second, but Sydney finished with a faster time. So this is setting up to be an amazing race because both of these ladies are virtually identical throughout this race, especially at the beginning, Femke a little faster mid-on, and then Sydney having a slightly stronger finish. And this is with both of them running with huge leads and somebody not pushing them at the end. So it's going to be amazing to see what happens when they go against each other. So if you saw my Olympics prediction video here, you know that I picked Sydney to win this race, and I'm not backpedaling from that. I still think that's going to happen, but it's going to be even closer than I thought, and probably the race that I'm the most excited about for the upcoming Olympics. Speaking of the Olympics, I'm going to be making analysis videos of all the hurdle races, certainly for the finals, and I'm still trying to work out what I'm going to do for the prelims. But if you want to be on top of that, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you will get those updates. And if you want to know anything more about hurdling, you can check out my website at acemethodcoaching.com.